Hello. What's going on, Abby? Welcome back.
Hello. Oh, it's good to be back. Hi, Bella.
She's
Bella's
down the hall.
in the podcast.
People, I don't know if it's just.
It's good to be back. I had such a great time with my family.
Yeah, you went to Los Angeles. You were saying, kind of.
So Mastermind is here. Sean is here.
Hey, Sean, Mastermind. Good to see you. Thanks for coming.
Rondo, peace, fam, is here. And I'm back. I'm so happy to be back. But I was so happy to be away too. So I don't. For those of you who might not know, I was in Los Angeles for like 2.5 weeks or something. It's been a while. My
2 weeks. You've been gone.
My uncle, my aunt, surprise birthday party, and it was hard for him to pull it off. Yeah, 2.5, I think. It was hard for him to pull it off. She kind of figured he was throwing a surprise party. Like she figured that much out. But what she didn't realize was that all of her, as well as like her best friends from college, and people flew from all over the country to come celebrate with her. So it was awesome. She cried like a baby when she saw all of our faces. So that was pretty cool. And I thought it was kind of funny because when I first got there, I was like, looks like it's going to be a geriatric party. It turned out to be so lit, Michael. I mean, nobody was get off the dance floor. It was so much.
I'm not sure if anyone in the chats. Yeah, there she goes. I was going to say, if anyone else is having a hard time hearing her, or she's being a bit glitchy on my end. So, and now she's dropped out there. So I'm pretty sure it wasn't just me. So, guess it's just us now for a moment. How's it going, everybody? Oh, there she goes.
Okay, here I am. Okay, that was weird. This is my first time connecting my laptop since I've been home. I just got home on Tuesday, and I've been sleeping because of the air pressure on the plane. It makes me tired. So for some reason, my Wi-Fi had me on someone else's network, which is weird because it's locked. So how did I even get in their password?
That is weird.
Yeah, but I'm on mine now. So
weird glitchy stuff happening lately. I kind of I give up a little bit. I'm too stupid with the technology to be able to figure it all out.
Is Mercury in retrograde or something?
Who knows? Maybe, I guess so.
Thank
Must
you,
be.
Sean. I'm back and better than ever. Is that a new seat that you have, or am
Yeah,
I not
I
remembering
found
correctly?
a new chair outside the other day last week. I went to go. I had like a self esteem meeting at the doctor's office with like a group of other people. This nice little program that they run for us. And on my way back, I saw this chair was just chilling on the sidewalk, and it was luckily not actually far from my house. If it was farther away, I probably wouldn't have even gone to go get it because it would have
Hmm.
been a hassle to get back. But it just so happened to be close enough to my house. I only had to carry it like a block, so free chair for me. And it was not really even in bad condition. I don't understand why the hell it's being thrown out in the first place.
Well, okay. When I was living in New York City, I would always go downstairs in my building the first of the month because people are moving out. Like around the first, like before the first until like the second, I would always just go down and look because people are moving and they're just like they don't want to take everything, so they just leave stuff down there like you can have it. So I
Yeah,
would always go shopping,
yeah.
and it was always some good stuff because I lived in East Village, so it wasn't too shabby. So
Well,
Rondo says there's going to be a lunar eclipse this weekend. The reason I kept that up is my friend has been teaching me about grounding. So you go outside and you put your feet in the dirt and kind of meditate. And it's like trying to become one with Earth, I guess.
well,
So
from the
maybe
science
the lunar eclipse will be a great time to do that.
there's supposed to be some science about the grounding as far as like our bioelectric charge
Mm.
doesn't when we're wearing like rubber shoes and stuff all the time, we're kind of actually disconnected from the electric field of the earth. And so there's the theory is that by going and standing out in the grass or actual soil barefoot, that you can kind of somehow recalibrate your bioelectric magnetic whatever thingamajig.
Yeah, that's what he's been trying to teach me. So, um, and I'm going to start gardening.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned that.
So,
That sounds like
mhm.
a good idea. Hopefully,
I'm
you can
pretty excited
see
about it.
things there. I need to start growing a like a tomato plant at least, or whatever. Get in on this competition with Kitten and everybody.
I
So,
have all this yard in the back, and I'm not doing anything with it. And I got on this thing called Neighbor, new Hello Neighbor or something. This app, and people sell stuff, or they're just giving away stuff for free. And so I found this company that has all these pallets, and they're like, you just come get them. And so I'm just gonna grab some pallets and use that to make my garden.
nice.
So it should be fun.
Sounds like fun. It's a
Hmm.
kind of activity that I need to. I have a bunch of unhealthy habits, so I need some more.
Me too.
Yeah, more healthy
Don't we all?
alternatives. Yeah,
Don't we all? Sean said you're looking good as well, and you are. I see you got a. I haven't.
yeah.
I
I
haven't.
gotta
I
get
haven't
trimming
talked to
it.
you the whole time I was gone, mostly. So
It's getting a little too long. I get lazy sometimes. I don't really take care of my physical appearance like I
I
should
mean, I
in
kind
a
of like
podcast.
it.
But it just
I
gets a
kind of like
little.
it.
I like it too, but then it gets like a little bit weird. So
I see it. It's doing that little split thing.
yeah, so
You
I
know,
gotta
you
put
could.
some of that beard sauce stuff. The oil. I just don't
Yeah,
really use it too often because it's kind of expensive, whatever.
yeah. Somebody when I was in New York City, somebody put that like the beard brush and the oil and stuff. They just had it sitting out there, like, hey. So I took it to my friend that I work with. He's a Sikh, so of course they don't cut their hair. So he started using it, and he lives by it now. He's like, I really like this stuff.
Yeah.
it's a nice grooming mechanism for men with beards. Mastermind has a beard. I don't know. Do you still have a beard, Mastermind?
I'm sure he does. He doesn't look like the kind of guy who cuts off his beard too often.
Yeah, I don't think so. So I think that would be a something he would benefit from too.
Yeah,
But
I gotta
anyway,
probably chop it off. I gotta get. I went and put out some resumes a couple days ago, but I need a haircut actually. I can't. I don't have enough money to go get a haircut, and I look ridiculous, right?
let's
Trying
see
to
what
look
you're
for a
working
job
with.
in the kitchen with all this hair. Wait, you want to see it
I
all? Whatever.
I thought it was
It's
cute.
ridiculous. It's
I,
too. Yeah, I know, but like in the kitchen, it's not good, right?
not good.
It's too
I
hot.
mean,
It's
you
gonna be
could.
too hot.
Can't you just wear a hairnet?
Yeah, I could, sure. Yeah, but that's uncomfortable and just I don't know. Maybe I'm a bit vain about it. I just really hate how silly people sometimes like it's makes you feel silly to wear it. You look a little silly, but other you can't tell what people think when they look at you, right? You probably other people don't think nothing of it. You just look like a normal worker with your uniform on. But it's just simpler. Just get a haircut. And you don't really need it. So, but
Maybe you could
I
barter
want a
and
haircut anyway.
trade. Maybe you can barter and trade.
Yeah. Well, I haven't cut my hair all winter. This is like what I've been trying to do is see if I can go the entire winter without cutting it because it keeps my head warm. But then it's getting so annoying. It's getting in my face. I have to have a hat on all the time. But anyway, I didn't. We don't mean to come onto the stream and just kind of talk about
Yeah, I
stuff.
mean, well, we haven't really talked.
Yeah, that's fine.
So
Yeah.
this is kind of a little personal for us right now.
I don't
um,
exactly need to do like a super heavy stream today because I was pretty hungover today, I guess, right? So I just wasn't really feeling too into preparing much. I gotta
okay,
take
and I
better
haven't,
care of myself,
I
but yeah.
haven't, um, I haven't looked at politics since I've been gone. I cut it all off because
Mm.
I don't get to see my family that often. So I made the conscious decision to not um, get too heavy into politics. Although my aunts were talking about all these boycotts that they've been doing.
There's been a hell of
So
a
that's
lot
kind of
going
been
on.
that's been the only conversation I've had about politics is the boycotts.
Yeah.
Um,
Hey, old man Barker, how's it going?
Hi, OMB, in the place to be.
Yeah, I've been getting a little getting a little burnt out on the politics and stuff because there's just so much happening, but we're still trying to do our part a little bit and kind of give
But
our
isn't that the point?
yeah.
To create the chaos so you get burnt out and don't pay attention so they can do the things that they do.
Yeah. Well, it's
Like,
and we've had these
it's
wars have
like,
been going on for years, right? And that's partly what's really burning me out is trying to when you 3 years into a war or something like that, you're looking, is it finally going to be over? Because it's getting to be pretty mentally taxing to continue to
yeah.
witness all of this and trying to have your hope, get your hopes up that some peace is going to happen, and you get your hopes dashed over and over again. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm not seeing, if I'm trying to gonna make a prediction, just speaking about the Ukraine war real quick. Um,
But I mean, he
I'm
didn't wear
saying
a
that
suit, so that's like the biggest issue is he didn't wear a suit.
right. That's what everyone. That's
I
what
did
really
see
matters.
that. I was like, what?
But what I was trying to say is to make a prediction. I'm gonna say that the war is not gonna have any peace until like the fall, maybe. But then I'm trying to figure out if there's we don't have peace this year at all, then is it going to ultimately blow up into the conflict with Europe and NATO proper, or is it going to fizzle out? Because I'm thinking actually, like NATO doesn't really have the ability to actually fight a war, even if it wanted to, which is why it's really currently right now trying to really
NATO is
fast.
ridiculous. NATO is just like, okay, America's problem.
Yeah,
NATO is America's problem. Like, they, who's gonna, if somebody invades any What country in NATO can actually fight for itself without America?
They're so
Can
full of
we
shit.
name one?
Like they really need each other so desperately because otherwise they're completely screwed. Like any other nation in under imperialism, whatever, all by itself without any allies is screwed, right? No,
Hmm.
almost no matter how big they are. But then, uh, what's really shocking is how, like, speaking from an enemy of NATO's perspective, it's really like the best thing possible to be watching right now is these people like completely infighting and hating each other and not being able to just determine a course of action collectively. That is exactly what we want to see happening with NATO. At the same time, is that what they're trying to portray for give everyone
And
what they think they want, right? And then because behind the scenes, I'm wondering how much are they really at each other's throats.
that's true, right? And yes, old man Barker, I think I'm a Russian as well, apparently, because I'm not going with the grain. So I guess I'm a Russian. Um, I'm hopefully this gives BRICS a chance in the Sahel region a chance to like solidify uh, their friendship and build themselves up to be a line of defense. Hopefully, but yeah, you're right. Like, are they really infighting, or is that just they're just doing that for us to see? You know, because the world is a stage.
Yeah, but
So,
I'm inclined to believe that they do really do have some serious disagreements about how to move forward. But at the same time, I'm sure that they do have some level of we have to keep up a spectacle for people because if we don't have even that, then we kind of lose the initiative as far as like the pressure, keeping the pressure on the public and getting them signed on to what they need them to. If they actually show that their disagreements publicly, they may lose the support that they need from the public. Although, do they really need the support, like fascists, whatever? Do they really need to pretend like you have a vote? Because
hmm,
increasingly, they're demonstrating that the democratic process all over the West is
I
completely broken.
I think it's so interesting how okay. Sean says his own mother asked him if he wanted to move to Russia because he told her the truth about Ukraine. It's like Americans don't even most Americans think that we beat Hitler. They don't even realize it was Russia.
Yeah,
Like that's how far gone we are in historically in this country. It's really embarrassing.
yeah. Well, you can't even explain to people like something about like the Holodomor with the Ukrainian famine there that was not an intentional genocide done by the Soviet Union, that's Nazi propaganda and stuff. And that to try and explain calmly, properly what actually is taking place historically, you can't do it. Like even with friends and family and stuff who should be able to give you the benefit of the doubt, somehow you try and explain just the truth of the matter and you're a crazy person, right? Like
Between Israel and South Africa, I'm still trying to figure out who won World War II. Mastermind hours here with the jokes.
well, when you really look into the history of Israel in Africa since like the end of World War II, that's a hell of a project we got to do one day because like it's really hard to for me to look at so benevolently at all these African states when I see how much they've kind of done the dealings with Israel just like everybody else, right? Like we likes to criticize all these Americans for being in APAC's pocket, but if you found out that a lot of these African governments are exactly the same, what do you do with that information?
Let me ask you this, Michael. Um, I did see this while I was gone. This AI generated video that, well, I'm sure somebody made the video, but Trump was bold enough to share it on his own social media account, where he was like, they had like golden Trump heads, and um, they were building um, beachfront property in Gaza and all this. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, that Riviera, whatever, Trump Gaza.
Right.
Okay,
Trump got the thing. So this is my question. Okay, a lot of people claim that they were voting for Trump because, he's not a warmonger, which is a lie. Um, so I feel like they were in cahoots the whole time. It's like Biden had to get it done, right? Now that it's done. It's done.
Hmm.
Gaza is gone.
Yeah.
And they made sure before he left office, Gaza would be completely obliterated, right? So now Trump has to go in and clean it up and start building.
Right. Well, that was one
I,
thing
I
that.
feel like they are in cahoots.
Yeah, that's one story that I had some sources to talk about. I could share my screen a little bit, but I'm glad you kind of mentioned that. Gives me an opportunity for a bit of a segue there. Just gotta try and.
While you're looking that up, I'm gonna Google this. Mastermind says, if you look close, there's a behemoth. Um, I'm gonna Google it. Mastermind. Oh, I didn't pull the I didn't pull the comment up. There we go. Bamamat. Bamamat with a H.
Geez, I can't really share much.
So a huge
Yeah, I
or
don't know if
monstrous creature,
uh,
something enormous, especially a big and powerful
you guys can
organization.
hear me. I got a bad connection here. Do you want
Oh,
me to share?
volunteer is here. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking up behemoth. Let me fix that. It's Ba Bahamut. Bahamut. Okay. In Arabian mythology, oh, can I share this? Is it okay if I share real quick? Do you mind? Can you hear me? I'm just gonna do it. Okay.
All right.
In
I
Arabian
don't know if I can really
mythology,
share that.
you can send it to me in private chat. Let me make this
Yeah, I
big so
hope
you
so.
guys can see. Bigger, bigger. There we go. In Arabian mythology, Bahamut is a giant fish believed to lie deep below the earth, underpinning the structure that holds up the planet. It's also known as a dragon deity in Dungeons and Dragons. My brother used to play that when we were growing up, Dungeons and Dragons.
That's interesting. I wonder if the Bahamut has any, like the name has any connection eventually, like etymologically or whatever, with Baphomet, because that's fairly similar, but it could be just a coincidence.
You said how do you spell that? Because that's what I
Baphomet,
was.
P
Yeah.
H P H O
Oh,
M.
PH.
Yeah,
I think that's what he must have meant. Okay,
yeah, that's
so
what I
here
thought
we
he was
go.
saying. Yeah,
Okay, Baphomet is a figure and symbol with origins in the occult and Western esoteric traditions, often depicted as a goat-headed being and associated with the Knights Templar, Satanism, and the Church of Satan.
yeah.
Oh,
Like when
let me
you
see if I
learn
could do an
all
image.
about, about the what's it called?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you remember like that cremation of care ritual? Where's that place that they go to? It's I'm blanking on the name or whatever. They go to that secret. All the rich people go to that secret room
Yeah,
to do some stupid ritual. That's all
right.
they got these little hints dropped everywhere, right? And so apparently Trump's team, whoever made that video for him, are playing with this imagery. So make of that
I
what you
mean,
will.
and you
Potentially tie
remember we talked about this. Let me just speaking of playing with imagery um, and names. Okay, people think Doge
Bohemian, Bohemian.
is.
Yeah, that one.
They think Doge. They think of Doge because the Dogecoin, but it's actually. I'm on images, so let me go back to all. The Doge of Venice acted as both the head of state and head of the Venetian oligarchy. Doges were elected for life through a complex voting process.
Well, something that you missed, now as you jog my memory with the Doge thing,
Hmm.
I was, I don't know, you know who Jamarl Thomas is? He's a podcaster. I think he used to be on like Sputnik with like RT and stuff. So, but I guess maybe you don't know him, but I've been watching him lately for the last few months. And one video that he did that was pretty, maybe we should call it up or whatever, but he had Scott Ritter on, which I'm tired of seeing him on all these people's platforms. But for once, Jamarl Thomas here
Are
actually
you
pushing back on him. So I'm like, oh, I'm happy
are
to
you
see.
skeptical of Scott Ritter?
Oh, and I completely have. I'm not just skeptical. I think that guy's total red flag or whatever. Nobody should be talking to him anymore. They should
Hmm.
recognize that he's like not on our side. He's establishment guy who's apparently like seen the light and is trying to buy his way to heaven with whatever, doing the right thing for the people on the right side of history supposedly, and he's like convicted
Mastermind says
pedophile and
he's the
stuff.
cop op.
Yeah, he's the kind of guest that compromises the people who bring him on because it makes them look utterly hypocritical. Right?
Hmm.
Like you can't be complaining about all the Epstein and Trump and this stuff. Why don't they release the files? And then you go talk to Scott Ritter, right? A convicted pedophile guy, right? He
Is
got
he?
he got caught trying to do like the cyber sex with like a 15-year-old girl.
Oh my gosh, I did not
And it
know.
was an agent that was doing a sting operation thing. But he apparently asked the girl, the agent posing as a girl said, "I'm only 15" or whatever, and he ignored that, right, and tried to get her to do the sexual stuff online anyways, right? And now
Wow,
everyone
that's
on the
crazy.
online media here is ignoring that because what he says about all this geopolitical stuff is apparently so important, right, that we can redeem him for that, except for when he's got takes that are like extremely suspicious. Like, the reason why I'm talking about him, I kind of like lost track of what I was trying to say, right? He said recently that Elon Musk is revolutionary, that Doge is revolutionary, that like, how the fuck are you
So,
guys thinking this is our ally? This is a fucking plant, right?
right, Golden Monarch says, makes you wonder if the creators of Doge. I thought Elon Musk was the creator of Dogecoin. I don't know enough about it. Golden Monarch, please look into it, and when we have you back on, we could talk about it. That would be great. And I just want to acknowledge that he's here, and also, I already said Volunteera, and Tim MC is here too. So I just want to say hey to everyone.
Yep. Thanks for
Um,
coming. Always appreciate you guys.
so I'm saying I haven't really looked into politics, but that's kind of a tiny lie because I have like poked around a little bit, and I'm interested to hear what you have to say about Russell Brand.
Oh, I haven't really heard about anything happening with Russell Brand this week. Did it
Oh,
happen
he's
last
like
week or something?
he's full on audience captured type like Jimmy Dore stuff.
Mm,
He's he's like on the Elon Musk train.
right. Yeah. See, I stopped watching him because I initially, briefly, for a couple, like maybe a month or two, I'd watched his channel when the feed kind of started to suggest it. But I don't understand why people take that guy seriously. Like, I can understand a bit more why people would consider Jimmy Dore a little bit more radical and stuff. But someone like Russell Brand, right? Like, they look
Yeah,
obviously like bourgeois people posing
yeah.
as
Brand is born again.
radical, right? So,
He's a born again Christian now.
yeah, it's
Um,
like, what the hell? Like, whatever promise he showed, he's completely thrown it away. So,
Golden Monarch says R.I.P. Russell Brand. He was seen advertising for free Teslas and 30K scam.
Yeah,
Really?
the Tesla stuff is hilarious. We got this big drive. Even Trump himself has been doing a little bit of a like the unprecedented illegal thing that the president's not really allowed. I thought, from my knowledge, correct me if I'm wrong, the president's not allowed to go soliciting for
Yeah, advertising for any
financial and
company.
corporate product.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're not
he's like
supposed
doing
to
a
do
full on
that.
endorsement in the White House for like that's that fascist the merger of corporate and state power in your face if you've ever seen it, right? Like,
That's the Doge, the Venetian oligarchy
but
in
beyond that,
America.
it's hilarious in particular when you understand the other side of the story is like Trump or sorry, Tesla stocks been like dropping, like their sales have been really taking like cratering, like 60% in Germany, like 50% in China. Like nobody's buying his cars anymore, and they're acting like
Did you see that the police are like standing in front of Tesla dealerships to protect them from getting,
oh, I
because
did not
I think in
I didn't see that,
France
but
and then
that fits. Yeah, because I've seen a lot of people
the
been
Molotov
burning.
cocktails in France,
Yeah,
and
I
I
didn't.
think it was somewhere else. So now the police, so how are you paying the police to protect a private organization? Like, shouldn't you get private security for that? Like, you're using public funds to protect a private organization. That is wild. I wanna say this to you, Michael. This was so sweet.
Yeah, I saw that.
You
Thank you
saw
for.
it. That's very sweet. We really appreciate that. There's others though.
Yeah, but
There are others.
unfortunately, like there's not as many as you would hope, right? As you might think, right? There's a lot of these people that I started following a few years ago that I think they when I started following them, maybe I was wrong the whole time, but I thought they were more independent, and I think eventually they kind of drifted into a less independent situation now. I'm not going to name any names, right? But it's difficult, right? Because we're just doing this by ourselves, whatever, for not necessarily for fun, right? But like,
We don't get paid.
yeah. So, and
it's just it's just I don't know what do you call it, the just, well, let me just say this, Tim, thank you for saying that. We really appreciate it. Um, so with you saying that, people, it really irked me. Tucker Carlson, how he was, um, like Jimmy Dore was like bigging up Tucker Carlson, and like, oh, he left mainstream media and now he's telling the truth. Okay, but he was telling lies all those years. So what makes him so amazing now? Like,
yeah,
he never apologized for his racism, his misogyny, his lying to the American people and leading them astray. And all of a sudden, I'm supposed to open him, like welcome him with open arms? No, because what they're doing is, oh, I also saw Joy Reid got fired, but I don't believe that either. The world is a stage. Okay, Don Lemon, Joy Reid, Tucker Carlson, who's next? They are moving them away from state media to independent media. So now we're supposed to believe them now.
yep.
They're all going in onto YouTube with their own podcast, but you're still full of shit.
And what bothers me about people like running cover for Tucker Carlson, whatever, like acting like that maybe he's made some kind of face turn or something. He serves an extremely important role for the deep state, right? Like he's doing these interviews with Putin and with like Viktor Orban and stuff, and like you can't really get a CNN mainstream or MSNBC person to fill that role. You need someone who's allegedly more independent, right? So
Hmm. So it's all a scam.
yeah,
Don't trust it.
I'm seeing if I don't know, I
Don't
don't
trust
because
it.
I never really followed Tucker to begin with. It's just the more I started getting into the politics and trying to do my own analysis for people, then I'm starting to see a lot of people kind of refer to him and stuff. So I was
Yeah,
like,
and Cuomo,
yeah.
Chris Cuomo, he's in that group too. He
So
has his own thing now.
I don't know if Tucker's like been making supposedly like anti-Zionist claims and stuff, but when I see him doing interviews with like Viktor Orban and stuff, I can kind of see some 4D chess going on a little bit where Orban's friendly with like Israel and Bibi and stuff, but people kind of like to forget that. And Orban's friendly with Putin, right? And so people like to think, well, I'm on Putin's side, they'll cheerlead for him, right? All day long. And then they'll hate on Bibi all day long because
Mhm.
that's kind of what their media has been, their propaganda has been fed to them to do that. But then Putin's really not that against Netanyahu like you think he is, right? Like we should talk about him one day about kind of being in bed with the Zionists like the whole time. And it
You said
doesn't really
Putin?
Putin, yeah. Like when
Mm.
I was reading up a bit on his background a little bit, apparently he's been like had relationships with Zionists and stuff like his whole life. He had like a father
Are we
figure, like a
shocked?
boxer figure, like who taught him how to box and stuff and wrestle. This was like a stepfather Zionist kind of character for him, like these billionaire oligarchs that he's been
Mm.
connected with his entire life since childhood, right? So there's just a lot that we need to talk about that a lot of the people in the independent media don't talk about because they have a side that they've picked, and that side is
Mastermind said, "Oh, I'm
saying
sorry. Go ahead."
we don't talk about Putin that way, right? Otherwise, you're not on our team, right? So
Yeah.
now we're not allowed to point out the Zionist connections with Putin. So
Mastermind says Hitler was a Zionist too. Look it up.
yeah,
So, thank you, Golden Monarch, for that little snippet of information. Ian Robert Carroll, Australian television executive. I think that's why Drake went to Australia for a tour
mm.
during the Super Bowl. That was hilarious. But anyway, um, you sent me something, and I want to pull it up for you.
I'm just not. I hope that it'll work just fine because it's bookmark on
I think
my
so.
Twitter account.
No, I think
Just
so. Is
as
this
long as you
this
can.
lady?
Yeah.
It's a
No,
lady,
it's. I
right?
think maybe you got to scroll up a bit. No,
It's not her.
it was this. Uh,
Let me
it was
try
a
again.
IL Weissman March 10th post from Forensic Architecture, where it was about the Gaza Strip and the Egyptian plan to rebuild and stuff. So I think you gotta. I think maybe you're on your Twitter. It looks
I
like I don't know
guess
if that's
so. I
so because I
just
can't
I
send you a link,
let
but
me
maybe
see. Open a new tab. Let me
instead
try.
of I'll click on the post instead of get it because the problem was I tried to share it from the bookmarks. Maybe if I go to the post and
Yeah,
then
you have
share
to
the link
share
with
it from
you
the
to
post.
the
Yeah,
actual
for
post,
sure.
yeah,
Yeah,
that
you have
should
to
work.
share it from
So my
like
bad.
click on the three dots. There you
So
go.
I just put it in the private chat there if you can see.
Okay.
I can
Y'all
read a
work with
little
us.
bit of
Work
what
with
the post
us.
says while you're calling it up. It says the results of Israel's redesign by destruction of the Gaza Strip throughout a year and a half of genocide is proposed to be completed by an Egyptian-sponsored master plan that builds in the buffered zone, the corridors, and the raid routes that Israel wanted this whole time. So as far as Egypt supposedly
Okay,
being on
wait, hold on,
Gaza's
hold on, hold on, hold on. You
yeah,
were talking way too fast.
my bad. Yeah,
And
sorry.
I have it pulled up, so
There you go.
that was
Yeah.
way too fast. Okay. You want to read it now?
Right. So the results of Israel's redesign by destruction of the Gaza Strip throughout a year and a half of genocide is proposed to be completed by an Egyptian-sponsored master plan that builds in the buffered zone, the corridors, and the raid routes. And this is our analysis. This is forensic architecture. You can go follow them on Twitter. I just recently stumbled on to them with this post here, and they look like an interesting people maybe to follow. Like, but I don't really know too much about them. So due diligence, right? Maybe click on that and so we can on the show more there, so we can see the full paragraph, and then I can read that one too.
Oh, click on what?
The forensic architecture
Oh,
part.
okay. Before I do that, I just wanna give you your flowers.
Thank you.
Michael got that confidence now. I can
Well, I
see
always
it.
feel like I
You're doing
oscillate.
great, my guy.
Yeah,
Look,
appreciate you guys.
did I thank you for holding it down while I was gone? I don't think I did.
That's all good.
And
You don't
I
need to.
really do appreciate it. You gave me the space to um, go be with my family, and I really appreciate that from you,
Yeah.
for
Well,
sure.
I might be needing a break here one of these weeks coming up soon. So
Okay, no problem. I got you. I got you. Okay, so you want to read this one?
yeah. So at the summit last week on the 4th of March, a new plan for Gaza's reconstruction was presented by Arab leaders as an alternative to Trump's plan to expel Palestinians from Gaza. Our analysis indicates that this initiative, which has gained support from the European Council, includes an architectural master plan that carries forward key elements of Israel's designed destruction of Gaza, as addressed in our Cartography of Genocide report, with its proposal for a buffer zone, security corridors, and raid routes. So uh, we are all kind of hoping that Egypt and Jordan and the other Gulf states are going to actually have the Palestinians back here a little bit. Um, but like this is not necessarily uh, fully decided and implemented yet, but it does look to me like this is potentially what they're trying to sneak by everyone with all the sensationalist crap that Trump's been doing. Like they've been flip flopping. They're trying to confuse the fuck out of everybody because
I need to look
whatever
at this.
a couple of weeks ago or was it a month ago, Trump was making statements that saying that we should ethnically cleanse the Palestinians because just to save them or whatever, we should get them out of there because it's just been death for decades there or whatever, blah blah blah. And then he went and retracted his statement recently, and he's been uh, communicating with Hamas, uh, the peace delegate people, like without Netanyahu acting like he's actually trying to finally listen to them and deal with them properly. But so I'm very like seeing some very contradictory things coming out here with something
Isn't
like
isn't there a lot of oil? Like well, I can't point to it, but like in the middle of Gaza, off in the shore,
yeah in the
there's
off
like a
the
ton of
shore.
oil. Because
Yeah, gas.
we kind of we covered that Gaza was like buying oil from Israel, and it's on their property. So it's like, what? Why are you buying your own oil from someone who doesn't own the land? Like, what? That doesn't make any sense. It's almost like Haiti buying rice from America. Like,
It's
and
like it doesn't
you're
make sense
it
unless you
doesn't make sense.
factor until you do the imperialism analysis stuff, and then you go, oh, now it all makes sense.
For real, for real.
So that was
Um,
that. We can maybe
well,
share something
they
different. But
okay. They're saying the quiet part out loud now. They're basically saying it's going to be a one state solution. Period.
yeah, well, that's actually
What they've been feeding us two state solutions for how many decades, Michael?
that's the other thing I had called up. I can share with you this link here. This is just an article. Um, it's there's the Arab leaders. You know, they got that Arab
Yeah,
League.
send it to me. Send it to
They
me in private chat. I'll pull it up. That's right,
they
Sean. It's evil by omission. For real.
they've been having like meetings uh, to talk about the Palestinian situation to try and resolve it, right? Because it's like with the whole genocide thing, like have a
Mhm.
duty, an obligation to act. But what they're trying to still, after everything that's happened, they're pushing a two-state solution in their official uh, document as
And And I've been gone for a while. Isn't there something going on in Syria right now?
Yeah, we
So
should
it's
have
like a
mentioned
greater Israel thing happening.
they're starting
Um,
another genocide in Syria. They're of the Alawites and others minorities like that, Christian minorities, and basically people who are not who are opposing the Zionist-friendly puppet government that just got installed. They're getting ethnically cleansed or whatever, like genocided for not appreciating like their country just got completely destroyed, and they're not
mhm.
going to take it lying down, right? But then they're not like they're not even necessarily fighting back. A lot of these people getting killed, they're just civilians getting massacred for being what Alawite or whatever.
Right. Tim, you're absolutely correct. I mean, Israel isn't even, it's not a place. It's a, oh, this is my, look at my nails. Oh. It's not a place. It's like a concept. They made it a place. And how are you just going to drop Polish people, I mean, white people, in on brown land again? Mastermind says the problem with the two-state solution is that would include a standing Palestinian army.
Well, it's ironic because I think even if as bad as it is, if they ever actually do implement a two-state solution, it would quickly become a one-state solution. Because if you actually do give a two-state, like people, like you actually implement that, Palestinians would get their voting rights, and they would be able to democratically elect the Zionist government out of power, and then over time, democratically, theoretically, you would be able to create like Palestine, whether you call it Israel, Palestine or not, the government would be able to be controlled by Arabs eventually, just by sheer numbers.
Hmm.
But that's why they deny them their voting rights, so that they can carry on their colonial, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
settling activities. So
Before I pull this up, I just wanted to show you the comments that are happening. Um, yes, Tim, Earth belongs to all life. So Rondo says, I know you would love this comment because it's about eugenics.
I don't know if you watched my episodes I did the last week. I did an episode about Zionist eugenics and Catholic eugenics, and how they're two peas in a pod. You know,
Mm,
so
no, I
maybe,
haven't. I hadn't had a chance yet,
but I didn't
but
get.
I'll get to it.
Now I need to maybe do an episode on Protestant eugenics, because that's like Catholics are definitely not the
Hmm.
only ones. Like Protestants are like the worst. Okay,
Did the Pope?
their religion is like, what's that?
Did the Pope die?
Recently?
I
No,
remember hearing something about he was on the ventilator.
oh, I didn't hear that. I'll
Yeah,
uh,
while I was gone, he's on a ventilator or something. Ah, did you
there's
just
some
do
people,
this?
yeah, some people I don't like, right?
Not the.
Popes in particular. But
Okay, Mastermind says Unreal has the right to shit in their tiny hat. I don't know what that means.
us Usreal,
Oh, Unreal is. Oh, okay. Oh, and the tiny little hat. Oh, okay. That's a new thing that we're doing on social media, so you don't get flagged by the gatekeepers of social
there's
media.
so many
I'm
names.
assuming that's what that is, right?
So many names for Israel, right? And all these other, or any like any nation you don't like, everyone comes up with a pet name for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's fun
Tim
to see people
says
be creative.
USA and Unreal are the same brutal colony from the same brutal empire. I mean, I feel like Great Britain is getting away with murder because I feel like they were the original, and then they created the United States of America to do their bidding, and then the United States of America created Israel, so they'll have like um, more space to spy on that area. I feel like Great Britain is not getting its due of of pissed off icity.
Yeah, well,
I
they
don't know. I don't know how else to
Great
say.
Britain has not been getting their up and comings.
Up and coming, yes. Like they sitting there acting like they innocent. No, no, the fuck you not.
Well, they lost a lot of their power, right? That's where a lot of people kind of give them a pass, right? They forget about them because they think that their empire is long dead, right? But then they kind of
No,
transition their power to financial power.
they doing evil in silence.
Yeah, like the city
Where
of London,
America's real bold with it.
people will need to recognize, like, as what Rondo was kind of saying about the Freemason conspiracy thing. That's got to do with the city of London and Washington D.C. and the Vatican. Those three cities have this like back room. Uh, they're in cahoots, right? They've been doing it for centuries. Like America was basically probably created by these people in a sense. Like I understand people got the history of the American Revolution story that they've been taught in a certain way, but the history books are not going to tell you about
The
this
truth.
fall, about the city of London and stuff
Yeah,
and
the
how they.
history is
Yeah,
is written by the victors, right?
yeah,
So they're not going to tell you that they sent their dignified people to be like on this side of the land. They let out all these prisoners and thugs to be in the middle to protect their dignified against the natives. They're not going to tell you that.
yeah. No,
They're
we'll figure it out,
not going
right?
to say that. What does Gomar say about Syria? Syria was also where at least 1,000 women naked protesting. They were gunned down. What?
Yeah, I haven't really like seen a lot of the footage, the traumatizing stuff personally. I never
Holy
made it onto
moly.
Telegram where you'd see all this stuff, and but I've been kind of needing to not expose myself to these kinds of images because it's just not helping me. I'm a kind of a little too fragile with my mental health for.
Hmm.
I'm don't need to necessarily see the graphic violence to be able to do my part to try and uh, like spread the word about what's going on and raise awareness to try and uh, get some real change to stop it. So
That that just hit me. That really hurt. you
yeah, there's some
know,
really sick shit going on every day right now. So
that's so interesting that you said that though, because I think it was like women protesting. Was it France? And they didn't have shirts on, and all the men were like, "They need to put some clothes on." And I'm like, "Well, men can go outside without their shirts on. Why can't women? It's only because our boobs protrude. Is that the reason, or is
because men can't
because you
control
can't
themselves.
handle it?
You show us that stuff, we just lose our fucking minds.
Yeah,
Like
they
maybe
can't
control
handle
yourself
it.
a little bit better. It's your job, not the woman's, right? Like
I dated this guy. Um, he was from Sudan, but he wasn't African. He was Arab, and the way he explained it to me, uh, the hijab and the garb. He said, oh my God, he was like, oh well, they all came together, the men and the women, and because the men weren't able to control themselves, or he didn't say it in those words, but basically they decided to cover all the women so the men wouldn't inflict violence upon them. And I said, wait a minute, what? So you didn't think, oh, we need to get these men together? So the way to solve this was to oppress women,
yeah.
and you think this is okay?
Well, they got that rationalization, right? Their explanation in their mind is there's a noble reason behind this unjust whatever policy, right? And but it's very deeply set, been like for centuries it's been this way. So people are expecting we'll just educate the women that that's wrong, that they shouldn't have to do that if they don't want to, and they'll just all of them they're just going to stop doing it because we told them. what they needed to hear, and they listened to us, and all was fine and dandy. It's not going to work that way.
I was living in Minnesota, Rochester, by the way, and and it was this really cool club. Like on one side, it was a two two building club. Like on one side, it was like a hip hop, and then the other side was country music. So you can go in and out whichever one you wanted. It was really fun, but there was a lot of Sudanese because Minnesota has a lot of Sudanese people there. All the men were in the club, and the women had to stay home. And I was like, "Isn't this some bullshit?"
Yeah,
Like the way you look at women as an object and not a person, and that's really fucking sad.
yeah.
But anyway, I
Well, what's
digress.
the saddest
What?
stuff is, yeah, sorry, we're digressing, whatever. We should maybe not digress more. I'll just say briefly, whatever. That's sad that people like to be in denial about like the patriarchy being a problem or being even a thing at all, and that's related to capitalism, and that it has to be
Yeah,
addressed while we, if you want to actually do class struggle, you're gonna have to do class struggle against the patriarchy and not just capitalism because they're kind of,
yeah.
yeah,
I'm assuming Rondo. Okay, because Rondo's Muslim, so of course he knows way more about this than me. I'm just speaking from my own little personal experience. Um, the hijab means modesty, so I think maybe he's talking about the that piece on in Arab countries where
yeah.
the men have
I
the
never,
hijab is different.
I
Like
didn't
for a
know that.
woman, you have to keep your face like all this covered.
Yeah,
Not all this, but at
there's
least
varying
all
degrees.
your head.
Yeah.
There's varying degrees of a hijab.
Like in
Uh,
Afghanistan, the Taliban, they would demand like only the eyes can be uncovered, and then by comparison, in Iran, they're kind of allowed to have their hair showing even.
and for me, I don't care whatever you want to do, do it because if you don't like it, it's your job to protest it and change it. It's not my job to police the world.
It's just hard for them to protest and change it when they get, we've seen with certain regimes and
Well, I
whatnot,
don't know. Black people
they
did it.
they get it's very
Black people did it in America.
but this is that's the thing, right? You can't just say like just because they're going to be violent and oppressive towards you, like you shouldn't protest or what. Like it's a strange ethical situation where you have to encourage people to protest even though you know that they're going to get targeted and attacked for it, and you still need to tell them to put themselves in harm's way because that seems to be the most effective way to actually put an end to the oppression in the long run. So,
Yep.
but
I
it's
mean, that's the
uncomfortable.
only
It's hard to tell
the
people
only way is
go
through
go
the
do
only
dangerous
way
stuff.
the only way is through violence.
Yeah,
Let's just be honest. The
but you
only way is
can't
through
because
violence.
they make laws that make us, if we're honest, they'll lock us up. Like that's on now that we've mentioned this, we touched on this topic. We can mention this Mahmoud Khalil character who's been recently. They're trying to deport him. They're trying to say like he's on a visa, so he's been bad, right? And he should have. If you expect to come here on a visa or whatever, we can just send you home if you don't follow our rules or whatever. But that's
You
not
mean
the truth. He's on
Elon?
a green card, and he's has a right to protest and stuff. And they've been doing this protesting on like universities uh, against Zionists and stuff in all the ways that you're expected to do it according to the law or whatever. Like they're not actually breaking any laws. They're just being painted as if they are so that they can like just do a completely illegal thing like illegal deportation or whatever, right?
Yeah. I'm just gonna take a minute to shout out some people in the chat that
Yeah,
we that yeah, Grape and Time. There you go. Kill your egregores.
yeah. I
Yep.
saw he had a little. What's up? How's it going? Yeah,
I'm in the house. I'm back, baby. So should I share this for you to read this and we could discuss it? We are like we are just like going by the seat of our pants today, right? So let me present.
It
Oh,
happens that way sometimes.
it happens that way sometimes.
It's
Okay.
good to be professional, but then perfectionism is not a good thing either. So uh,
And I've been gone, so there's that. So here
so
we go.
thank you for being patient with us, everyone. So are you just gonna scroll down and you wanna read it, or do you want me to read it, or?
I can read it. It's fine. Full text of final resolution from Arab leaders for the Palestine summit. Meeting was hosted by Egypt and attended by several heads of state.
This was a bit back from March 5th there, but I thought it was
Yes.
an important meeting, so we should mention it. So
What's today's date? Oh, yeah. Okay. The 12th, 13th, something like that.
yeah,
Okay. So here's the full text of the resolution adopted at the one day summit. We, the leaders of the Arab states, recognizing the seriousness of the phase of our region is going through and reaffirming our commitment to the Palestinian issue as the central cause for the Arab world. Stand by all peace seeking nations and peoples who uphold justice. We reaffirm our commitment to defending legitimate rights, supporting efforts to end the historical injustice against the Palestinian people, appreciating their steadfastness, and respecting the struggle of generations for a just peace. And we condemn the inhumane and aggressive policies imposed over the past 15 months. We reaffirm the outcomes of the Arab Summit held in Manama on May 16th, including the, uh, is it Bahrain? Bahrain,
Bahrain.
Bahrain Declaration, which emphasizes the values of tolerance, coexistence, and dialogue among nations. As we support efforts to strengthen peace and stability, uh, and the call for deploying a UN affiliated international peacekeeping force to maintain security on the ground. Are you looking at the chats while I'm doing this? Um,
Yeah, there's not much going on at the moment. Yeah.
okay. So as we support efforts to strengthen peace and stability and the call for deploying a UN affiliated international peacekeeping force to maintain security on the ground until the implementing of the two-state solution, that's not happening, and address current challenges with collective cooperation and solidarity. In response to an invitation from His Excellency President Abdel Fattah el Sisi of the Arab Republic of Egypt, and in coordination with His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa al Khalifa of the Kingdom of Bahrain, who chairs the 33rd Ordinary Session of the Arab Summit, we convene today, Tuesday, March 4th, 2025, in Cairo. This extraordinary summit was held at the request of the State of Palestine to discuss the dangerous developments affecting the Palestinian cause. We salute the steadfastness of the Palestinian people, evident in their historic return to their land, particularly in northern Gaza, following the announcement of a ceasefire agreement, which didn't really work out that well. We pledge to continue implementing all previous resolutions of the Arab League Council at the summit level related to the Palestinian cause. Now, before I go on to we decide, is there something you want to say?
Well, I was gonna mention we maybe don't need to try and read this whole thing because it's kind of like just a boilerplate, fluff piece that's not really too based in reality, right? We already see because I mentioned it in Tuesday. I just kind of wanted to show
Oh,
people.
there's
We could read it if you like there, but there's like a whole
like
bunch of points.
23 decisions.
Yeah. So, but it's basically we could read it to try and weigh. the extent of their hypocrisy and see how much of this they're actually going to try and make into reality over the course of the next year. I doubt
Okay,
any of this is really going to come to fruition.
come to fruition.
Yeah.
So they decided that reaffirming that our strategic choice is to achieve a just and comprehensive peace, which fulfills all the rights of the Palestinian people, especially their right to freedom and an independent state with full sovereignty over their national territory based on the two-state solution. And the so we already know that's BS because they already said a one-state solution is the only choice.
Well,
I mean, I heard that. Am I
now
crazy?
to play a little bit of devil's advocate, I guess, if we try and say that the two-state solution is dead, uh, fine, that's all well and good. But then to actually try and implement the one-state solution, how do we literally make that happen? Because they've not come to a point where the Israelis are ready to say, okay, we'll go home now because what we did was bad. We're sorry. We shouldn't have done that. Right. So they're not going to leave. The Palestinians are not really in a position of strength to be able to evict them in any
Hmm.
meaningful way. So whether
Right.
while we may want a one-state solution, I don't see a feasible way to implement it.
Well, they're going for greater Israel, so I don't see a non-feasible way to implement it.
We're going to
Um,
get the wrong one state. That's what's I think going to happen.
yeah, of course, of
We're going to have to
course.
go. It's like going through Nazi Germany, right? We're going to have greater Israel apparently, and so everyone sees what kind of a monstrosity it is, so that the world actually comes to its senses and then wipes it off the map. But that's not the prediction I want to see come true. So
Yeah, we're just like little pieces of. We're just little players on a monopoly board.
yeah,
Um, I
we're
want
more
to
like
thank
rich.
you, Grapentine, for reminding us. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe and share.
I'm inclined to let people decide on their own if that's what they'd like to do, but
I know, but
that
we're supposed to say it.
a lot of people would happily push the like button and then they forget. So it's just a nice friendly reminder. So,
Hmm. How did the United States implement a one state solution? They burnt the state of Georgia to the ground. I think, are you talking about the black Republicans that they ran out of? I think it was Georgia. Like in the beginning of Congress, they had a lot of black Republicans. And they do what they do. Said somebody whistled at a white woman or something. They ran them out of town and
that's a little.
burned the town to the ground. I think that's what he's talking about. But
I was gonna say that's a
I
little
mean,
piece.
there's so many different.
That's a piece of American history I had not been aware of. So thanks. That's my fun fact I learned for the day. Right?
Yeah, it's either Georgia or it was some place in the South, Georgia or Alabama, somewhere east of Louisiana. Um, but I'm sure he'll make a comment. So okay, so I'm gonna go back to life, back to reality. You remember them?
Most of the songs you sing, I don't even know what song that is. I don't know.
Really?
I'm
I
just a
know.
little too young, I guess, or I got interest in different styles of music.
Okay. So, number two, intensifying cooperation with international and regional powers, including the United States, to achieve a just and comprehensive peace in the region and working to end all conflicts in the Middle East. Good luck with that. Reaffirming our readiness for immediate engagement with all international partners with the aim of resuming peace negotiations to reach a just and comprehensive solution to the Palestinian cause based on the end of Israeli occupation and the establishment of an independent Palestinian state. So this is still two-state solution
They're trying to
bull that they already know is not going to happen.
they think that they're somehow going to be able to wind the clock back to June 4th, 1967, and reset the borders at that point, and act like nothing happened since then. Like I don't see how. I guess if you don't try and fix it on the 1967 borders, how you have the open question of where do you set the borders then? But why does it 1967 become the de facto like definition of what Palestine is versus what Israel is? I don't know. I have to read up a bit specifically more on. I think it was the 6 Day War. That's basically why that's the kind of go to for everybody.
Hmm.
Because like in 1972, that was when all the African nations did a big boycott of Israel following that war, and so it's like a really important like node in history for people to reference to understand. But I haven't maybe done enough reading. Like I have read up a bit, but like you
I
have to
mean, they're we're
remember.
only on number two, and they're already pissing me the fuck off. To be
Yeah,
honest, like, like, like I'm already pissed off about it. Rondo, no, that wasn't in vogue. I'm gonna show you who it was. Okay, that was Soul to Soul. That was the originators. Remember them? I'm telling my age. Okay, y'all, I'm gonna be 48 next month. So, just so you know, I'm a little old. So, should we go back to? Should I read more? Resolution 3 is some bullshit. Okay.
see how far we
Uh.
can get if you
Okay.
want.
I could try number 4. Uh, yes, I really am on my age. Yes. Oh, he was a child when that sang. Oh, oh, you a young buck.
Mm,
I'm a cougar. I'm just saying.
that's all
Okay,
good.
so let me. It's all good.
We really need to talk to each other. A lot of these younger people are they see all this gerontocracy that's like a disaster with like Biden and people in charge, but that doesn't mean that we should stop talking to our own elders in our own movements. We really need to get their wisdom and stuff before they pass on, and just their knowledge of
Exactly.
their historical knowledge that we don't have. That's part of why we make mistakes because we don't know what they know. Like, but,
Right.
but we also got to figure out who should listen, who should take the initiative, right? Who should
I
get in the
also
back.
find. I also find. Okay, my aunts like grew up during civil rights, but I found that a lot of older black people. I don't know what happened to them because it seems like they feel like because they grew up in civil rights, like it's over, everything ended,
Right.
and now they're just like, all I gotta do is vote. And I understand that you're older, it's not your job to be in the streets, yada yada, but it is your job to pay attention a little bit. But they are on that Democratic train, baby.
Yep.
Poo,
This is
poo.
exactly why I understand why people give up on boomers and older people. They're just like, fuck that. These people have lost the plot. They're a danger to themselves and others if we try and like listen to them or include them in the discussion and stuff. With
Well,
like,
I find that they this is me talking to my elders. They throw the fact that um, they were alive during civil rights in my face when I say things that don't mesh with their thinking. Like they think
they use it as a badge
the
of honor.
Democrat,
Like
yes,
it's so much
like
more than you. What are you talking
I wouldn't say stolen valor because they did go through it.
about? Yeah.
Um,
But it got like
but it's like that was 40
didn't
years
result
ago.
in what they were trying to achieve, right? Like it was a half
About
victory at best.
60 years
That's
ago.
what I would think. The way I would think of it. I feel like
It was a half victory because black wealth is at the same level that it was at the height of the civil rights movement. So that's not a victory.
but
We should be we should
they
be
had
doing way much better.
they had achieved like more of like an end to some segregation, and there was I would say like since like growing up in the 90s and stuff, there was more of a like there's a difference between growing up in Canada or the States. So I don't there's a limit to my perspective, but from what I could tell, there was a little bit more of a like reduction of racism, at least you might be able to say, and an embracement of black people and other minorities and stuff. But
No,
it's all
it
for
wasn't an
show.
embracement of black people. It was an embracement of the amount of money we could create
As
for
a kid, I was naive.
society.
When you see people being nice to each other, like you don't understand the power dynamics underlying everything that no one's talking about. So you can kind of be tricked into be thinking that we're in a more progressive era, right? And all this stuff.
We're
But
not.
even if we were, if you give people that, it doesn't matter because it's all been undone in the last like last decade or so.
Like Rondo said, you were alive during civil rights. They're still lynching Negroes out here. They are. Um, did you see that video that this it was like this black dude with his friends, all his friends were white. He was the only black dude. And they snatched that black dude up and was telling the white people to leave because they were gonna lynch him. They were like, "You don't have any part of this. Get out of here." Did you see that video?
No, I don't remember. Maybe
That was that was just like 3 years ago.
yeah, yeah, probably not.
Yeah,
3 years, there's a lot happened. 3 years, I was like,
it's a lot going on.
3 years ago, I was like totally like caught up in all this COVID stuff. That's all my attention was focused on doing the research into what's really going on. Was it a lab leak theory or is it zoonotic? I was deep into trying to figure that shit out, and I've never really come up with answers that have been satisfactory still to this day because they're not really there.
Sean says there's a sundown town in Washington still to this day. Wow, that's crazy.
So I'm not sure.
That's unsettling. You know what a sundown town is?
I was gonna say I'm not exactly familiar with that
So a
term.
sundown town uh,
I can kind of guess
when
if it's at enough outside when
when
the
the
sun
sun
goes.
goes down, every black person needs to be gone
Yeah,
because then there's a purge
yeah,
and you can get lynched, killed, beat, raped, whatever. When the sun goes down, you need to be away from here.
yeah.
That's a sundown town.
That's what I
Um,
thought. But it's good to just get confirmation there. So
yeah. So there was a thing called the Green Book. So it was like the yellow pages. You remember the yellow pages, right? Yes,
yeah,
with the
yeah.
phone numbers and
Sorry.
stuff. Okay, so the Green Book was a book for Black people that would tell you where you could travel, where it was you would be safe from not being harmed. So it would tell you like the businesses that you could go to, the hotels you could stay in, stuff like that, that you were free from harm. And the sad part is when they built the highways in America, they used the Green Book for the routes of the highways because they use eminent domain to take away all these black businesses, and so they built the highways west and north based on where black businesses were. So they did that purposely to to kill black wealth.
Yeah,
Ain't that something?
this is the
It's
stuff.
like why you gotta hate so hard?
This is the sort of stuff is not really opinion, right? That's like the way that it went down, and then I don't understand why it's so difficult for certain white people when you try and talk about how white supremacy is still a problem, and as white people, we have something of an obligation to put an end to it, or else we're complicit with it, and they kind of like rub it off, dismiss it, like there's we got more important shit to do, whatever. Like don't pick the scab or whatever the fuck. I don't get it. Like,
uh, Rondo makes a really good point. Um, that I didn't know this. So when I was growing up, like you can't just let kids outside nowadays because they'll get snatched real quick. But when I was growing up, we had to we were able to like play in the street, play on the street or whatever. But when the street lights came on, we had to be home. It's like don't get caught with street lights on, or you're gonna get your butt whooped.
yeah,
Because that is like you don't need a watch. Just when that street light come on, you better have your ass in this house. So Rondo is saying that's the origin of he's saying the porch being on the porch. No, we had to be in the house. So that's interesting. And it makes sense.
yeah. Well, that's where people I've been hearing lately have been mentioning how in China they don't really have to worry about when they're what their kids are doing when they're out playing and like that they're gonna get hurt and stuff because they're the 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 state protects their people and you can actually trust their cops and stuff I guess to actually care about people or to stop people's behavior that's unacceptable like they're actually going to deal with it instead of let it just kind of carry on until something really bad happens like they do here in the west they watch people behaving dangerously and they act like they have no right to intervene until somebody gets killed or something that makes no sense so but you can see in our modern times that's one of the barometers. Like you think we're doing so successful, and we can't even let our kids go play outside, and that's why they're stuck on the tablets and screens and getting fat and crap.
Sean is making a that's interesting. I'm assuming your grandfather oh wait, hold on. Was kind of racist a bit against Hispanics. It's taught, right? It's taught. Have you ever seen the doll test?
The doll test?
You never seen that?
I don't think so.
I'm gonna pull it up. Um, I think that would be really interesting for you to see. Doll test videos.
Yeah. Well, while you're doing that, I'll just
I have it right here.
go through a little bit. Sean was saying that's pride and ego. It's all they have, basically. Why white people just refuse to do their part to put an end to white supremacy. I agree, 100%. Right. When you've
Because it's
got
comfortable. It's too comfortable.
when you've ruled out all the other options, that's all we got. Like that's the answer because that's the only answer that's left. That hasn't been ruled out. It's that people are so egotistical. They got their nose
It's
so
so
high up in the air
comfortable.
that they can't really, you know, see what's right in front of them. So
Oh, Sean, I'm sorry you had to experience that. His grandpa was just racist. Well,
yeah,
and I'm glad you came out of it. So here's the doll test. Um, here we go.
Doll.
Start. Oh, okay.
Which doll is the black doll? And which one is the white doll?
That one.
Which doll is the pretty doll? Which doll is the nice doll? Which doll is the bad doll? Which doll is the nice doll? And which doll is the bad doll? And why is
You see, these
that,
are black children.
that's sad, right? They're
That's very
already
sad.
taught to believe that.
Already how young they are.
That's sad. I didn't see that.
that doll pretty?
Because she's white and he have two eyes.
Which doll is the ugly doll? Why is that doll ugly?
Because he because he's black.
Which doll looks most like you?
Like me.
Yeah, which one looks like you?
And that one.
Okay.
That doll. Can you show me the doll?
And
That you like?
and they also did this with let me take this off here. They did this with white kids too, and the answer was the same.
That's fucked up.
It's real sad. Very sad. I'm surprised you never heard of this, but you in Canada.
Yeah, well,
But this is America. Come to my area.
that came out a little while ago, so that's maybe like if I'd
No, that was like 20. That was a study that was done like at least 20 plus years ago.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, like 20 years ago, it would have been like uh, not maybe breaking news, like front page or whatever, but it would be something that people would be talking about when the study came out. But then now that conversation's been happening and is over now, so we kind of, and then it's good that people talk about it, bring it up or whatever, who mention it, so we can have the conversation again. Those younger people who missed it,
Hmm. When I was growing up, my mom, I wasn't taught about racism because my mom thought civil rights we good, and she didn't want me to have to deal with it. But I had to deal with it anyway because I was going to schools where I was having to deal with it. But in her mind, it was over.
Yeah. But
We're all one people.
that sucks because that leaves you to deal with it completely by yourself.
Yourself. And
Just
not
to
even
get checked out.
understanding what it was. I didn't even know it was a thing because we weren't taught, I had to go seek that stuff out for myself. I remember I was in ROTC. I was in high school. I was in ROTC and I was in Upper Bound. I don't know if any of the viewers know Upper Bound. It's like a summer program for high school students to live on college campus. I think it's mostly at HBCUs. So you go live in a dorm on college campus, and it's basically to get you used to or comfortable with being away from your home and knowing that college was something that you could achieve, basically. Like in my high school, like we didn't go to the same classes every day. We had different classes Monday, Wednesday, Friday versus Tuesday, Thursday. And that was supposed to prep us for going to college. So anyway, I'm at ROTC and they're like, oh, everybody's just green here. Like there's no color. We don't see color, which I hate that phrase. But anyway,
in a perfect world, that would work, right?
Hate that phrase because that means you don't see my culture. But okay, whatever. So we're going on. They're dropping me off on Southern University's campus, and this it was like a cutlass. It cut us off. Okay, a regular thing for drivers to do sometimes. It's fucked up, but this girl right next to me was like, "Look at that dumb nigga," and I just froze. I didn't know what to do. And everybody was like, oh, she said that in front of her. I just felt like that. I didn't know what to do. I didn't have the language for it. I didn't have the audacity. I was just, all I could do was just sit there in silence.
It's not what you can do. It's more like something that this person needs like therapy or some shit. They need to be the ones to change them. Like you can go beat them up or something to prove a point, maybe get put in jail or whatever for doing the right thing, but that's not necessarily gonna, like, maybe that would even reinforce it further.
Because it's really strange. Because like if a white person would have cut us off, what would she have said?
Yeah, they would saying "fuck you, cracker," right? Like they would come up, they would call him a dumbass or something, non-racial insult, right?
Right.
Or they
It
would do
was.
a misogynist thing. They would call him some bitch or something, right? Like that's the it's a funny thing when you analyze what people's go to words are for insults. It's a bit revealing, I think, of people's character.
Mm-hmm.
We all need someone to punch down on, basically.
My nephew. Well, actually, he's my second. My cousin's son. That would make him a second cousin. So he's like 5 or 6 or something. No, maybe 8. Anyway, he's in elementary school, and some kid called him a nigga, and his mama said, and the kid was Mexican, and I'm like, what? Why my cousin talking about? Next time he do that, you call him a beaner. I said, what? I said, don't do that. She said, why? They just words.
They're not
If,
though.
if but they're not though. And I, why would you tell him to do that? She's like, because if he gonna do that to my child, then maybe he needs to feel how it feels. And I was like, oh yeah, because if somebody hit my child, I would tell them to hit them back,
Yeah, that's what
right?
I've been kind of teaching my own kids. It's always tricky though, trying to
But that's
analyze the
tricky.
right course of action to tell them. Because I'm not telling them if someone punches you, go cry to the teacher, right? That's not really, I don't think.
Yeah, no, I'm hit. Whatever they did to you, you do it to them twice.
But what we're doing essentially is teaching to, like an eye for an eye, if you think about it.
Remember when we played that video of that ex-military man, that black man who was he said I get held for killing your enemies, HAILED. I get held for killing your enemies, but jailed for killing mine. Remember that?
Yeah, I remember.
So it's like if you teaching us an eye for an eye for the destruction you're doing, why can't we do that on on our solid ground?
Because they need to impose some kind of double standard that is completely irrational, that we're supposed to accept as the truth and the way that it is, and they're supposed to know it's bullshit, but they're supposed to force it on us. And
It's basically you're gaslighting me.
yeah,
You're a narcissist and you're gaslighting me,
yeah,
basically.
yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, should I go back to this or
Maybe
I mean this
what else?
resolution? Can I put it in the chat?
We've been talking all about Israel. We were supposed to maybe talk a bit about Ukraine too, but
I'm gonna put it in the chat for folks to read the rest of the resolutions.
but I thought it's important to mention because the Palestinians basically are depending on these Arab leaders to do something, and international law they are obligated to do something to prevent or put an end to genocide. And people are saying, "Oh, we gotta have ceasefires. We gotta do peace talks, right? We gotta recognize who are these actors that we are expecting to do these peace talks. They're the worst kinds of people to be put in charge to do this thing that we want them to do. They're never going to do what we want them to do. They're only going to create a negative peace. If people don't know what that is, right? It's not a real. It's peace, but it's not really. It's like unequal, um, corrupt peace, right? It's peace that leads to more problems than if you didn't even have the peace. But that's the only kind of peace that we're expected to have, right? So
well, speaking of Ukraine, Rondo said that let me see if I can find it. Oh, a great movie that actually helps me understand the dynamics of bigotry in the United States is American History X. So I'm just thinking of Ukraine because there's a bunch of Nazis there,
yeah,
and thinking of Elon Musk. There's a side by side of American X, um, one of the white nationalists like doing a Heil Hitler next to Elon Musk doing it like You can't make this up. This is literally what he did.
Yeah.
So I just thought about that. And
Well,
then he says that movie showed that the major white supremacist movements in the United States were controlled by the FBI.
that was a good.
I have a good question about this, Michael. So um, I did see this while I was gone. I can't remember what city it was in, but it was like these dudes and they had black. It was black and red they were wearing, and they had like Nazi signs. I mean flags rather, and they were just like, "Where are the niggers? We looking for the niggers," and all that. It was just ridiculous. And the police were protecting them,
Yeah.
and they came out of a U-Haul, and
They were,
I'm
on
thinking
like a bridge or something or overpass. I think I
they
saw.
were on an overpass. Yes, you saw that.
Yeah, and
Okay,
they were
so
supposed to get a ticket or something because they weren't. Their vehicle was in a place that they should not
yeah,
allowed to, but
I'm
not authorized.
thinking, how are you protecting them when shouldn't they get a traffic ticket? Because first of all, a U-Haul isn't for people to be standing inside.
Yeah,
That's not legal. So so that's one violation. Then your U-Haul is just sitting on the overpass. Come on now. Is this the FBI? It
that's
doesn't
where
it made no sense.
does not pass the smell test. It doesn't make any sense, right? When
Doesn't
you
pass the smell test.
yeah, but as far as like the Nazis and stuff in the Ukraine, you
You
mentioned like
wanted
the
me to
black
play
and
something.
red. That just tips my memory a bit. There, I forget exactly which organization it is, but it was like one of these like bandera organizations. Like they use the black and red for their symbolism, and often black and red is like anarchist communist kind of colors, but you got to pay attention that sometimes they happen to be like the Nazis use them.
Hmm.
So that's just one of those things that upsets me when I see those people flying their black and red. It's like to me it's
But don't anarchists use that as well?
yeah, that's the I
So
wish
it's
I
like,
remember.
have they like co-opted it or?
Well, part of the issue is like there are some anarchists that like have sided with the wrong side of history, and particularly anarchists in Ukraine. Right, there was I think his name was Maknov. Like there was a whole Ukrainian anarchist like state they tried to create. But then this when the Soviets were creating their union, they declared war on Ukraine, and these anarchists in Ukraine that were kind of siding with the Nazis were the fascists before the Nazis were in power and stuff because it was like in 1920 or something. Um,
Hmm.
it's very interesting as far as people. It's important for people to sift through. Like I just had bad cookies on last week. We were talking a bit about anarchism and stuff, and
Oh,
I think
did you?
yeah, I think
I
anarchists
missed
and
all of
communists
that.
should try and work together. Yeah, go back and watch it. It was a good interview.
I bet
Um,
it was. Bad cookies is always a good time.
yeah, but so it's tricky though because there's this other like side of anarchism that's been problematic and supportive of imperialism, like the anarcho-capitalists, right? Uh, so I understand why a lot of communists refuse to work with anarchists and think like we're garbage or like we have terrible theory and like we're just going to get people hurt or something. But that's not like there's two sides to that coin, or whatever. There's two kinds of anarchism, I guess you could say, the good and the bad kind, right? There's you could say that about every movement. There's always a split, you know. Anyway, I'm getting on a kind of a tangent here. So Rondo's saying the bridge
I want to
Nazis.
play. I want.
There was one operative known as Boneface that apparently fought in the Ukrainian military. Yeah, I remember seeing that people talking about that guy. I don't understand how you're kind of telegraphing to the world that there's something really fucked up with
You
you,
hear my
your
clicky
mind or
clucky?
something. When you tattoo your whole face like that, it's masochistic as fuck. But that's what it is, right?
I'm trying. I'm trying to change the look. There it is. Remember this?
The
Make it bigger.
FBI. The Yeah, I love this Spider-Man meme. It's so applicable. You can change the names up, and it's so perfect. Like you could put the Zionist, the
Yeah, it's like
Nazis, and a
yeah,
couple
there
other.
should be one that says Zionist too.
Yeah,
We gotta
U.S.
upgrade the
Army,
meme.
Zionists, Nazis, NATO. Right there you go.
Hilarious.
I found an interesting
Okay.
little tidbit just to randomly, since we're talking about like the connections. Like apparently, I didn't. Just a little fun fact about Henry Ford's son, Henry Ford II. There's a bit of a connection there between being a Zionist or whatever. He went and did business with his Ford company in Israel and stuff after his dad was like the notorious worst anti-Semite, like a
Of course he
company.
did.
Yeah. So it's just that's one of the just yet another little shred of evidence that points to this collusion between the Nazis and Zionists all this time.
I mean,
Right?
IBM was providing them with computers.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the amount of American companies that were providing the Hitler and his organization with support, it's astounding.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they hide their hand.
The burden of evidence is overwhelming. So
Yeah. Okay, so you want me to play this? It says U.S. resumes aid to Ukraine. Russians have liberated uh, Sutza military
yes,
summary and
Suja.
analysis.
It's tricky to pronounce these.
Sutza?
Suja.
Suja? Okay,
Yeah,
with
I
a
don't know.
J.
It's the Kursk region. The Russian uh, people will call it the pro-Russian blogger, whatever podcasters will call it the Suja region, and then the Ukrainians will call it the Kursk region. Just like the way like the Kiev and Kiev, you know.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay.
But I thought it was
Iran versus Iran and
yeah,
Iraq versus Iraq, depending on where you are.
yeah.
It
So I thought
depends
that
on how you pronounce it.
yeah, it's a little hint about whose side people are on the way that they use the word.
Right.
Um, I thought
Okay.
this video was important to share because this was like a really historic turning point kind of thing in the war. I've been waiting for this to happen forever now. Like they've been very carefully, like they've had this salient into Russia. The Ukrainians have had for like 6 months or something at least, whatever. That was everyone knew was like unsustainable when they invaded in the first place because they need like they still don't have enough men. They should be sending them to the Donbass region, and instead they decide to open up a new uh, whatever offensive operation that they can't afford to do. So we've all been in independent media waiting for this unsustainable invasion to collapse, and it finally has in the most spectacular kind of way. So as far as anybody who's rooting for the Russians, they really just pulled off a very impressive, successful victory here. So we should take
So
a moment
it's
to
14 minutes long. Are
yeah.
you gonna like wave at me or whatever when you want me to stop?
We don't necessarily need to watch the whole thing. We could just watch the bit about Kursk, or we could do the entire update. But this is already
Hello,
a
my
couple
dear
days.
friends.
Sorry.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay.
You're on the Military Summary channel, and this video we're going to discuss the most important events that took place during the previous 12 hours. We have lots of very interesting updates, so let's start. And this morning on the 12th of March of 2025, the most important and the most interesting updates are coming from Kursk Oblast. According to information we have this morning on the 12th of March of 2025, the armed forces of Russian Federation managed to establish complete control over the city by the name of Suja. We need to understand the difference between the city of Suja itself and Suja agglomeration. When talking about the city of Suja, this is the territory in the central part of Suja agglomeration. So this is exactly the city of Suja. We can compare the maps between the dates. For example, this is the situation by the beginning of the 12th of March, and this is the situation by the end of the 11th of March. So as you can see, the progress of the armed force of Russian Federation is significant. Once again, Ukrainian, the city of Sudzha has fallen. But when talking about the Sudzha agglomeration itself, there are still 3 towns left. This is the settlement of Zaleshenka, which is located in the northern and the northwestern part of the Sudzha agglomeration. We're talking about the small town Goncharovka, which is located in the western and the southwestern part of the Sudzha agglomeration, and we're talking about small village of Podol, which is located in the southern part of the agglomeration. So, summarizing everything and telling the truth, we have some doubts whether there are still Ukrainians in the town of Podol, and we believe that probably this settlement was also captured by the Russians by the morning of the 12th of March of 2025, but we still haven't received anything that can confirm this. Anyway, if the Russians haven't taken under control this settlement by now, obviously they would be able to do this by the sunset of the 12th of March of 2025. Furthermore, according to information we have, according to different reliable pro-Russian resources, as a result of offensive operation, the Russians also managed to answer the Silja agglomeration from the northern part by attacking the Ukrainian positions from the settlement of Kazachia Loknya. So these territories were also captured by the Russians, and we believe that due to complete absence of any barriers and any constructions that can slow down the Russians, we believe that this will lead to complete collapse of the settlement of Zaleshenka. Also, during the next day or during these, let's say, the next 12 hours until the sunset, the settlement of Zaleshenka would be taken by the Russians as well. And we believe that Ukrainians will be able to hold for several hours their positions in the territory of Goncharenka, because this village is, let's say, cut from the main Sudzha agglomeration with rivers, which are the something like natural barriers that will be able to slow down the Russians. We are not saying that the Russians are not able to take the settlement of Goncharenka. We're saying that this is going to be most likely the last settlement that would be taken by the Russians when talking about Sudzha agglomeration. Now let's discuss details and let's discuss geolocations. So starting this morning, we began receiving lots of geolocations and lots of videos from the Soviet square. So there were published 3 videos were published since the beginning of the morning. In this video, we can see the Russian soldier that was raising the Russian flag, probably the most highest construction in the central part of the Sudzha agglomeration. We see how happy the Russians were when they were doing this. Later, we got another
Can I
video
pause
from
for
the
a
Soviet.
minute?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I'm trying to follow what
Yeah.
he's saying. So
Well,
give me
I
an
feel like
assist.
I maybe picked the wrong video a bit here. I thought that I'm gonna have to kind of explain a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Because I think this was the video that came out after the one that I watched that explained things a bit better. Because there was like a
Oh,
surprise, like secret sneaking into the Ukrainian territory through a pipeline. 'Cause you know how Russia was sending oil to Ukraine all throughout this war or whatever until recently
mhm.
they finally shut them off. So then there's been no gas in the pipeline, and so the Russians they've actually done this 3 times now. They sent their soldiers into the pipe with, I guess, gas masks and stuff, and then they snuck in underground and then surprise attacked them. Uh, you would think that the Ukrainians would be like intelligent enough, or like that they would be able to like sabotage those kinds of sappers or whatever and not be caught off guard like that. But it's a bit of an example of how badly organized their resistance to the Russians is at this point, because like they don't have enough equipment to work with. The Americans and the Europeans, their funding is kind of dried up because the Americans are trying to force peace now, right? They've turned off the Starlink and everything, and then like the
But
next,
isn't he trying to force peace and demand rights to their minerals?
yeah, at the same time, right? And so
Mhm.
but the way that they've put pressure on the Ukrainians for a peace deal, where they've cost them like disastrous like bargaining chips for the peace agreement with Russia or whatever. They lost this Kursk region now. That was one of the biggest bargaining chips that they had, but this is like this is where the argument that the Trump administration is like colluding with the Russians gets a little bit of life breathed into it.
Right.
When you see how they're like, oh, you don't want to sign a peace deal? Oh, we're just gonna completely fuck you over by removing your eyes and ears out because you need our surveillance or whatever. There's satellite data, and then they're not like, I guess they started sending, they turned the funding back on, right? This is every week or whatever, the story is like done a 180, right? First, like Trump saying no more
Like the
funding.
tariffs.
First, no more no more missiles, whatever.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you turn it back on, right?
Right. Like the
Trying to
tariffs.
pressure Putin and Zelensky at the same time.
Yeah, it's crazy. Not to mention that Trump, the most recent tariff agreement was signed by Trump, and now he's acting like he don't even know what the fuck happened.
Well, the tariffs,
That's crazy to me.
We hadn't talked about them today, but apparently some of these the tariffs on, I think that Canada was going to put on the U.S. got kind of paused because the retaliatory tariffs, because they're doing some backroom negotiations. So to me, it looks like they want to convince the public that we're ready to go to trade wars with each other. But then if you really follow the details, they're not really trade warring as hard as they want you to believe.
At all. It's
They're
just
still
smoke and mirrors.
They're still
Smoke and
causing a lot
mirrors.
of crisis and stuff.
It's just that's something to keep us like excited about something while they're doing shit in the background. You need to worry about what they're doing in the background.
Yeah, well,
not
Canada's
the stuff that they show you on TV.
It's like if the trade war is real with the Americans or whatever, we're double fucked because we got a trade war now with China too. Slapping tariffs on in response of Canada loyally doing what the Americans wanted them to last year or whatever it was, putting on some kind of, I forget exactly, but they sanctioned China for some things last year, and now China's hitting them back, right?
Yeah. So. I'm gonna have to leave because remember I told you
yeah.
I don't know what's going on in Baton Rouge, but there are a lot of shootings taking place with young people. I mean teenagers. And it's really getting scary. Really
I hope that the young people can be. I understand how scary, how dangerous things, like desperate times, desperate measures and stuff, and we got to do what we got to do to protect each other and ourselves and stuff.
But it's not about any protection. It's pettiness.
Yeah. Try not to get sucked into that thug life bullshit, that gangster. I'm the more gangster than you are, or whatever. So I'm gonna whatever.
You know what's really gangster?
You know, sorry, go ahead.
What's really gangster is a one-on-one fight. That's real gangster.
Yeah, no weapons.
What they doing now is bitch made. Like anybody could shoot a gun, but can you fight? Yeah. That's the real gangster.
Yep, that's that technology though, right? Because people, you can't bring a knife to a gunfight or your fist to a knife fight, right? So if the arms race is going to take off, right, you can either participate or get left behind. Pacifists ain't getting nowhere these days. So.
And everybody getting too bold, too loose. That's why I'm just like, let me do my garden.
Yeah,
and let me go back to the gun range and get my skills up.
Yeah, all I'm saying is you're gonna fight for the right reasons. That's what the dumbest thing is. Most fights that happen are for the wrong reasons. Why is that happening?
Wrong reasons. Right. I don't have nothing to do with none of that.
Yeah, but we can wrap up here if we're did about 2 hours anyway. But just with the Ukraine stuff, long story short, whatever, the Russians pulled off a really impressive surprise attack, and the Ukrainians panicked, and they retreated. Even if they hadn't panicked, they would have been fucked, right? But they had enemies behind their lines. But they didn't. They lost clear perspective of the situation. Everything became chaotic, and then they lost like the worst thing that could happen to an army, right? The chain of command kind of collapsed, or whatever. Then nobody could give or follow orders, whatever. Everyone just kind of, every man for themselves or whatever, get the fuck out. So that's the disaster in Ukraine that they're trying to use their tax dollars for, to continue to push for the why this has to carry on, right?
And if you thought Trump wasn't a warmonger, you thought wrong.
Yeah, so that's where I'm saying in the video here, never negotiate with madmen, right? Because as much as we need these peace agreements like yesterday, these people like Zelensky and Trump, right? They're not really capable of creating an actual peace treaty that's not going to be a problem 5, 10, 20 years from now. So
Can I be petty real quick? I just want to be petty real quick. Look at Sean. Pettyville. When I went, okay, look at this. The peen ivy is real.
oh yeah,
You see that?
yeah,
That's the real reason racism exists. That peen envy.
That's funny.
You could get with this, or you can get with that. Wait, I gotta show it to you.
I appreciate you guys with the comedic relief, because I'm not always in the mood. So.
Oh, it's not sharing. I don't know what happened. Sean,
happy am I
shame
lying?
on you. Shame on you, Sean.
And Tim, yeah, Tim says thank you. Have a nice day. You too. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. MC, come back. We're so happy to have you.
See you next time.
And we're out of here, right? Any other comments or before we go? I'm so glad to be back. Let me just say that I'm so glad to be back. Thank you, Michael, for holding it down while I was gone. I really appreciate that, because you've held it down a couple of times for me. Like when I was sick, you are very consistent, and I appreciate you and love you for that.
It's all good. I appreciate having you back too. I'm glad. It's not the same without you, right? So.
Oh, no, it's still good. But next week, we'll be able to give some kind of solid substance, since we're both back together.
Yeah, I gotta be better.
Today was just like whatever.
I keep being irresponsible with my drinking. I gotta get on that, right? Especially like I'm not really working right now. I only got this 1 day a week thing going on. I gotta have more discipline, not throw my health away the day before the show. So I'll do better for you guys.
It's glad to be back. Kill your egregores. It's glad to be back for sure. I missed y'all.
As far as
y'all, but I enjoyed my family at the same time. So
yeah,
it was a win-win for me.
Just real quick, as far as announcements, I don't know if you heard, Rome was got freed from jail there.
Oh, so okay.
Back. Yeah, I don't know how exactly they managed to pay for the bail, but hopefully enough people donated that they managed to crowdfund his ass out of there. So.
Good for him. Good for him.
Thanks, Sean.
Sean is giving you big ups. So we appreciate that, Sean. You know, we're all just trying to. I smoke. I'm just going to admit that right now. I didn't smoke until I moved back home to take care of my mom, and the stress just hits me hard. But I'm trying to make a change. We'll see how it works out for me.
We just gotta snap that tether.
The smoking kind of sucks. It's gross.
It's like having a ball and chain dragging you around everywhere, right? Like I don't mind. I don't have a problem with people smoking and drinking, right? To each their own, I guess, in that sense. But then I'm starting to feel like weak and tired and sick all the time, and it's like the novelty's wearing off, but I'm still kind of Like I was feeling I needed to go get a drink today, right? Because I had too much. I need a hair of the dog, right? But then I'm like, I got to do the show, right? So
Sean said, I smoke, I drink. I'm supposed to stop, but I can't. I'm a dog. I love hoes. And I'm addicted to money, cars, and clothes. Do it big then. Do you know that song?
no, I don't think
No, of course you don't.
I gotta listen to more rap and stuff. It's just I got out of the loop, and now I got the feed doesn't like give me the right stuff, so I gotta go take the time to look for it.
It's okay.
All good.
That's why you have me as your friend.
That sounds like a good song. You got a good voice right there.
Sean said, yo. All right, so we're headed out. We're headed out, yes. I did oh, that's good, kill your egregores. That's good. You keep that up.
Good job.
And that's true. Peter Tosh, you know who Peter Tosh is?
I don't think
He
so.
was in the Bob Marley and the Wailers group.
Okay, yeah.
He made his own albums.
Okay.
So he has a song called Legalize It.
I don't think I ever listened to his songs. I
Oh,
listened
you
to
should
Bob
listen to
Marley
Peter
and Wailers,
Tosh.
but
You
yeah,
should
I
listen to Peter Tosh because
didn't
he was good in his own right.
nice.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
Yeah.
Paul McCartney sounds like whatever, but better because they're reggae.
Yeah. So when you when we disconnect, pull up some Peter Tosh.
Sure.
I think Bella will love it.
Yeah. Well, she'll be happy to be getting out there. She got a new ball or whatever I found here.
Yeah.
Dog park. Lucky.
Look, and then she running after it. Peter Tosh was a great rebel. You would like him a lot. That is true.
Yeah.
Because he was about that life.
I find it interesting when you look at the Zionism stuff and you look at the reggae. There's a little bit of an interesting connection there. It's like usually Rastafarians, not reggae or whatever. Like Rastafarians with the dreadlocks and stuff, right? They're all usually good people. Never met one that wasn't a nice person, but their religion seems a little bit too close to the Zionism.
It's very close to Christianity.
Yeah, there's like Jewish links, like origins to the Rastafarian religion and stuff, and so I just think contemporary Rastafarians may have a little bit of a Zionism problem that doesn't get talked about because the Zionists are typically we're thinking of like Christians.
Yeah. And
yeah.
Look, sometimes you can't have everything. The beauty of Bob Marley was his father was a white man in Jamaica. So his father made sure he went to really good schools so he could read, and a lot of Jamaicans couldn't read at the time. So he was basically giving them information through the music. So yeah. Rastafari. Rondo. Pastafari. That's an inside joke. You know Pastafarians?
Is that the flying spaghetti monster?
Yes. Yes. Pastafari. But yeah, he was it was a very interesting concert that he was a part of. He was bringing two political groups together, and it was like a clear sky. And when he brought these two, of course, two white men. First of all, how are two white men? How y'all run in Jamaica? That's another story. I'm gonna let that go. But anyway, he brought the two political groups together, and lightning struck. But it was a clear night. So a lot of people think that's like, you know,
some
revelation,
divine thing,
like a divine
sign,
sign or what have you. Yes.
Yeah, we should talk about Bob Marley one day, right? And do like the little research into how revolutionary was he really? Because I'm wondering if he might be a little similar, like like Gandhi, where the story you told is that he's this very like iconoclast or something, like this really important figure, but then did he maybe be is he maybe like the imperialist friendly rebel, you know what I mean? There's always like the controlled opposition rebellion. So I'm not taking the time to analyze what happened with Bob Marley in that context. So we could do
It's
that.
a good conversation to have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody out there
Tim,
knows it. Let me
Tim
know.
definitely knows Peter Tosh. He got all the songs.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll check him out. So
You really should.
I see Egregore is this mostly due to his gut issues. He's cutting down on the drinking, so much better, less flare ups and pain. That's where I've been getting that those symptoms myself. My body's letting me know that it's time to kind of change things. So,
You know what's interesting? You said that. I got another story. I'm not gonna take long. I was in Alabama, and I went to the liquor store. I wanted to get some wine, and this man, I mean, this a white man, but he looked old, and he walked in and went straight to the shelf, like he knew exactly what he was picking up, and I got curious because I was like, damn. He just walked in and he was like, I know exactly where it is and what I'm doing. So I wanted to see what he picked up. It was Takavaka. I said, your old ass is still drinking Takavaka. At some point, your body told you, Takavaka, I can't do this no more. And you pushed through and kept going. Like you didn't upgrade to Tito's, you didn't upgrade to like any other vodka.
yeah,
You just straight Takavaka. That's the lowest of the lowest of vodka.
I don't know if we
You
have
too
that
old
brand up
for
here.
shit.
But that's like Smirnoff. I used to drink that when I was in like high school and stuff. Now I can't drink it even if it doesn't smell right. Gotta have like the Finlandia, the Tito's, like you're saying. Anyway, not to be advertising for the alcohol, the
Yeah.
science, you know.
And by the way, Jack Daniels is we're boycotting Jack Daniels. They got rid of their DEI program too.
Yeah.
So
Well, a lot of those
go get some Uncle Nearest because Jack Daniels stole the recipe from a black slave. His name was Uncle Nearest.
Okay, so then they got a company with the original.
Well, what happened was that once people learned the story, they started a GoFundMe, and black people contributed enough for them to start their own company, and so they started making whiskey from his original recipe. It's so much better. Uncle Nearest is so much better. Jack Daniels is shit. So I'm just saying, but it does cost more. Yeah. But it's worth it.
Well, I've not been a big whiskey guy. I'm more of a vodka guy, but I haven't really been. I've been just beer and wine mostly lately. But I was just gonna say, like, because this tariff and stuff, we're seeing a lot of this American alcohol. Those brands are not available anymore. There's gonna be some probably long-term changes because of this stuff. But anyway, I don't mind. I kind of prefer Canadian beer anyway. Sorry.
And I saw. I keep saying I wasn't following politics, but I did see snippets of stuff. I saw your prime minister. Is it?
They chose
like an executive action to take all the American drinks off the shelf or something. Like all of your grocery stores was taking like Jack Daniels and all kind of American drinks off the shelf. Is that correct?
Yeah, pretty much. I don't know if it's all like total ban, complete, no American booze whatsoever, but I don't know if it's. I'm pretty sure it's mostly just businesses personally, voluntarily choosing to take all of the American because it's too expensive. It's just not economically feasible.
Well,
but there's also like
Americans were like,
they want to get back
they're-
at them, so they're like going out of their way to trying to find a way to show that we're retaliating. You know, some of these business owners.
and Americans were like in the comments were like, you're shooting yourself in the foot because you're not gonna sell the liquor. And what they didn't realize was the Canadian Prime Minister like subsidized, like gave them some money for taking it off the shelf.
Yeah, probably. I wouldn't be surprised. I haven't
Yeah,
exactly
they
paid
they
attention to
like
every
compensated
detail.
them a little bit for taking it off the shelf. And when all this is over, I mean, liquor doesn't spoil. You could just put it right back on the shelf.
Yeah. No, they definitely rely
So
on
they're not missing out on anything.
the alcohol and other drugs and stuff. Is definitely one of their when the economy's doing shit. They're like, okay, we got to get people drinking or whatever, because like that's one of the surefire ways that they can keep the money coming in. So, but what's funny about the Canadian provinces and stuff, they've been so stupid about not wanting to let booze be sold like province to province. So they've now, because of this shit with the American tariffs, they're starting to realize how stupid they were to begin with to not allow proper free trade among the provinces of the liquor. So that finally is changing for the better. That should have already happened a long time ago, but anyway, it's just funny what causes the contradictions to finally get resolved.
For real, for real.
And yeah,
Yeah. And
how's it going, Cookies? Good to see you there.
Oh, Bad Cookies is here. Hey, Bad Cookies. He's so bad. Okay, so should we go out on since we were talking about liquor, I was thinking I can go out on a Uncle Nearest video maybe.
Yeah, sure, why not?
Because we are boycotting Jack Daniels.
Do you ever feel like glasses and
I'm going to get my
contacts get in
Costco
the way?
membership because I'm not doing Walmart or Amazon. I'm leaving all of them alone. Yeah, so this is my journey, my gardening journey.
My cask and Q or whiskey.
Okay, so here we go. Let me see.
All right,
if
so
this is
are we
wait,
now saying our goodbyes here?
yeah, you go ahead and start saying your goodbyes. I'm trying to figure out why is this white man telling us about Uncle Nearest? Who is he?
I don't know.
Okay, well, I'm gonna roll with it.
Yeah.
So
That's what the algorithm delivers. So.
That's what the algorithm delivered. So we gonna make it happen. So thank you everyone for joining. Bella.
Somebody upstairs dropping something on the floor. Anyway, carry on.
Bella. Okay, so thank you so much everyone for joining. What's her name? K Michelle has a song about Jack Daniels. She's from Memphis, by the way. She has a country album that she put out, and I would argue it is way better than Beyonce's, but don't quote me on that. But it is. K Michelle, she's from Memphis, Tennessee, so go look her up. It's a good album.
Yeah, enjoy your country music. That one's not for me, but to each their own.
You don't like country music?
No, that's been the one genre that I can't really get on with.
Well, you know, country music originated in Africa. Like the banjo is an African instrument. We literally created every.
Yeah, it's like
Mostly
somehow
every.
it's so strange how it's almost like the Jews or whatever. It's like you guys are behind everything.
I mean, they kind of. I ain't gonna say nothing. Oh, Sean, please don't look. I'm sorry. Beehive, don't come for me.
No,
Don't come for me, Beehive.
Beyonce is ridiculous there. I don't know why. It's cult of personality
She's
shit.
ridiculous.
I don't understand how people worship people like that. But anyway, this music's all right at best. Like,
So we're leaving out. This is just 4 minutes, so this will be good, right?
yeah.
So learn a little something about Uncle Nearest.
Yeah. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you guys next week.
Yes, we'll be back with more informed content next week, and we love you.
Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for stopping by Cask and Q, where whiskey and barbecue meet. I'm your host, Justin Lloyd, and today we're going to be reviewing some Tennessee whiskey, Uncle Nearest 1856. Stick around. So Uncle Nearest is a Tennessee whiskey. Did you know that Uncle Nearest and Jack Daniels have a lot in common? Nathan Green is actually Uncle Nearest. Nathan Green was an enslaved black man, and he's the guy that actually mentored Jack Daniel. And many say that he's the one that perfected the Lincoln County process. That process consists of the distillate dripping through sugar maple charcoal chips, which then is delivered into the casks for aging. No other spirit in the world can call themselves Tennessee whiskey because of the Lincoln County process. So Uncle Nearest comes to us at 100 proof. Let's go ahead and get a pour. Okay, as you see, this is a deep copper color. Very nice. Viscosity is there. It's a very pretty color. You see that teardrop run down there. Let's give it a taste. Got some floral notes. I'm picking up some cinnamon and almond, kind of a burnt toast smell. That's probably from the charcoal filtering. I think at 100 proof, this one is really pleasant to smell, which should be the case. Let's give it a taste. The oak tannins kind of appear right away. It has a little bit of a drying effect on the palate, peppery, sweet on the mid palate, almost like caramel and vanilla, maybe some apple peel, but definitely that pepper forward taste. And the oak, new oak, but not bad. And keep in mind, I'm not a big Tennessee whiskey fan, but I really enjoy this one. Yeah, so the finish is medium. It's a medium finish. It doesn't linger too long. I think it's just right, especially for the price point. I mean, we're talking MSRP of, I believe, $65. So one wouldn't expect, whiskey at that price range to just linger forever. So that's not a knock. So definitely picking up some bold, rich notes, along with that pepper, but in a good way. Yeah, same exact experience. So the oak tannins are kind of, drying out the palate a little bit. Pleasant to drink. It's an easy sipper. I had this one over ice a couple nights ago. It's awesome. So as far as the rating goes, we're going to take into account value, availability, and taste. Value, MSRP is about $65 on this one. I've really enjoyed the second half of this bottle. The first half, for some reason, it didn't speak to me. I let it sit on my shelf for quite a while. Like I said before, I'm not a huge Tennessee whiskey fan, but different strokes for different folks, right? With that said, I think the value is excellent. I would buy this all day long, especially at $65. Availability, it's abundantly available in Arkansas. I think I've seen this in just about every liquor store I've been in. And as far as the taste, man, especially for me, being a Tennessee whiskey, that whole Lincoln County process thing sometimes throws me off, but I'll be danged if I don't love this one. As far as my aggregate score, man, I'm probably about a 7.5 on this one. I think it's a really good value. It's available and tastes great. I'm going to go ahead and include Uncle Nearest's website in the description box below. You should check it out. It's a really cool story and very inspiring. Hey, if you like what we're doing at Cask and Q, then go ahead and
ain't leaving in the morning. No, I keep them right by my bed, clothes scattered on the floor, and he's still buzzing up in my head. Ooh, hate to do you wrong kind. Ooh, think I finally found my type, yeah. 'Cause I've been let down like a bottle just collecting dust. And there's something that hits a little different when it comes to us. It keeps me warm, I keep him close, holding me down, and now I know Jack Daniel, I'll be damned if he ain't the only man I trust. Ooh, just a shot in the Broadway dark. Ooh, I know you're never too hard. I've been let down like a bottle just collecting dust. There's something, it's a little different when it comes to us. It keeps me warm, I keep him close, holding me down, and now I know Jack Daniel, I'll be damned if he ain't the only man I trust.
Your 5 minutes